Hey, we're gonna have a quick conversation today. Uh, Dr. Short is with us, and we're gonna talk about the Democratic hangover. And the question is for Black women, particularly Black women: Are y'all tired of yet of being slaves of the Democratic Party? Cocaine found at the White House. Uh, so we're gonna get right into it. What's going on, Dr. Short?
Oh man, I'm blessed and highly favored, and this is a day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and attack feminists in it.
I was thinking about wearing a dashiki and being on camera today because I feel a little black right now because I
Well,
know
don't
that
don't
those
worry.
things those
That's
things are so symbolic to what's how we're being treated by this Democratic Party or how
well, you mean the sex toy is symbolic? Probably being treated now.
well unfortunately we can't put that on camera, but that is how they should feel, knowing that they continue bending over, twisted up
Or
by
feet in
this.
the air. Not everybody's bent over. Some people are on
Yeah,
their back with their legs up in the air. Gives a new definition to the word Air Jordan.
yeah. And then wonder why they ain't got no man. Because if you like Biden said, if you don't vote for him, you're not black. You're not
Right.
black. And after he locked up all their men and all that stuff, and
And
you
he
know,
locked up women. You know, this is a this is the thing that's eating me, man. When that Biden bill passed, the rates of incarceration for black women jumped 1,100%. People need to remember that. And it was around crack, the same drug that there are videos of Hunter Biden smoking crack on all over of him smoking crack, and he's free. And imagine that black women who've been incarcerated for crack, who voted for Biden, who did that 100-to-1 disparity when Biden knew his own kids were junkies, and he has known all this time, all these years.
his name has been on every drug bill for the last 40 years.
Hmm.
Signed,
Well,
sealed,
he's
and delivered.
he's a neo Dixiecrat. People forget that Delaware is somewhere between 30 to 40% black. It is one of the most black heavily populated black states in America. People forget that. People forget that with the Brown versus Board of Education, they always talk about Kansas and the girl out in Topeka, Kansas. But that Brown case was several different cases basically rolled into one. Okay, they were bundled. And one of those cases was for Delaware school segregation. And that Delaware had its schools under a consent decree of the Department of Education and Department of Justice for decades. Delaware has super segregation.
Mm.
Just, in fact, I'll say this: blacks in Delaware are among the poorest in the country. You hear about Mississippi, but you don't hear about Delaware. You hear about South Carolina, where Clanburn is, but you don't hear about Delaware. You hear about Louisiana, but you don't hear about Delaware. You hear about South Bronx, but you never hear about Delaware. Never. And blacks, they are terrible. The police kill people there. Blacks disappear there. And nobody talks about it because, one, all the corporations are based in Delaware and nobody messes with the real banks and the real money. So Delaware gets a pass on its atrocities against black people. And where is the Biden family dynasty rooted and established? Delaware. Hmm. And there's no discussion. You know, the it's amazing. You have lynchings that go on in Delaware, and it's just it. Think of it this way: I don't even think, if I'm right, when you want to get news in Delaware, it typically comes from Pennsylvania into Delaware. And the reason I'm saying that to you is that Delaware is on the Delmarva Peninsula. It's sort of isolated on the other side of the Chesapeake. Baltimore and D.C. are on the west bank or the west shore of the Chesapeake Bay. And Delaware is on the Atlantic seaboard of the Delmarva Peninsula. Delmarva for Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. Virginia to the south, Maryland to the east, Maryland to the west, Delaware to the east. And Delaware has a very interesting history of racism. In fact, even they had their riots a year after Dr. King was killed. That's how beat down they are. It's a rough place. My experience with going to Delaware is be very careful, and Black folks disappear there, and nothing's done about it. This is known. That's where Biden's empowered, and Biden's son was the attorney general when all the Black men were disappearing. And that's no one made news. No one will cover the story of Black men and Black children and Black women disappearing in Delaware for years. However, in fact, several people have run against Biden, and it'll shock people. Now, Delaware does have a Black representative, and notice you'll never hear her say anything. Shh. Let me tell you something. And I mean this. You will never, ever, ever see anything really significant happen for Blacks in Delaware. And when folk get hurt, when cops kill people, the police are notoriously brutal in Delaware. It's just never a story. Nobody's going to cover it. And so Biden, even though what most people don't know, and I lost my thought, is that a huge number of people in Delaware, Black, vote Republican. Mm. It happens on a regular basis when Republicans run. They get a large number of Black votes because the Biden machine is so racist and so cruel.
I know that Delaware was one of the last states to implement the 13th Amendment.
Yeah, they were maybe
35 years, basically 35, 40 years.
It was in the 19th century. It was in the early 1900s, I think. 1901, Delaware outlawed slavery. Let me check that date so we're right. I don't want anybody to think. See, Biden. It's interesting. This is the thing. I'm telling you, Black media stinks. Everybody else gets to lie and make up facts as they go along. And if you don't have it exactly precise, they're willing to dismiss everything that you say when you're a Black person. And yet, in particular, coons and coontards and all the weakling Black people, they're very quick.
I don't even think they send the coons out no more. I think the coons just do their own bidding now. It's getting so bad that the coons feel like they got to defend this administration, in particular, Hunter, without even being told to. You know, they worried about
I'm correct.
1901, right?
Yeah, I'm correct. February 1901. But
they love to pride themselves on being the first state.
Well, first state for white people. and so if you understand that, in reality, the Black slavery or Black freedom should be celebrated in February, when the very last state to end slavery, Delaware, did it instead of Juneteenth. Another reason for February to be an important month. Mm. So yeah, did not end it. February 1901. I was correct. I mean, I just want to be certain. So no, you don't know. What was that? It was not January 1901. It was February. They'll trip off the month, and the fact is they'd never heard of it.
So,
It's
Dr. Short,
amazing to say anyway.
let me ask you, because I know a lot of people didn't really hear about Hunter Biden until
So, as I call him, Blunder Biden.
yeah, until the laptop stuff, and they didn't know the backstory to this to
Oh,
him.
that's actually not true.
Okay.
People heard about Hunter Biden in particular in 2015 when he was kicked out of I believe, the Navy for cocaine possession. In fact, let me look that up too. And so I have the exact branch of the service and the exact year. Make certain so nobody can say we're making this out. He was kicked out of the Navy Reserve. Well, let me pull it up. I knew it was Navy. I mean, and this is like I said 2015. I apologize. It was October 17th, 2014 when this story was published.
So he was.
So let me read it. This is from the Jacksonville, Florida Times Union. Washington, Hunter Biden, the youngest son of Vice President Joe Biden, has been kicked out of the military after testing positive for cocaine. Two people familiar with the matter said Thursday. The Navy said that Biden, a former lobbyist who works at a private equity firm, was discharged in February, barely a year after he was selected for the part-time position as a public affairs officer in the Navy Reserve. Citing privacy laws, the Navy did not give a reason for the discharge, which was not disclosed until it emerged in the media on Thursday. In a statement released by his attorney, Biden said he respected the Navy's decision and was moving forward with his family's love and support. He did not give a reason for his discharge. It was an honor. It was the honor of my life to serve in the U.S. Navy. Biden said, I deeply regret that I'm embarrassed that my actions led to my administrative discharge. The vice president's office, that's when Biden was vice president under OFAGA, your Lord and Savior, sub out Negroes. The vice president's office declined to comment. Hunter Biden's attorney didn't respond to inquiries about whether Biden had used cocaine. Two people familiar with the situation said Biden, 44, was discharged because he failed a drug test last year. They weren't authorized to discuss the incident by name and requested anonymity. The Wall Street Journal first published Biden's discharge and a failed drug test. An attorney by training, Biden applied to join the Navy Reserve as a public affairs officer and was selected in 2012. One of 7 candidates recommended for a direct commission for public affairs. A board of senior Navy officers interviewed Biden before making the recommendation. How are they going to say no when his father works for the commander-in-chief of the military? Because he was 42 at the time, he needed a special waiver to be accepted. Commander Ryan Paris, spokesperson for the Navy, said Biden had been assigned to the Navy Public Affairs Support Element East, based in Norfolk, Virginia. Listen to this. In terms of Biden's separation from the Navy were unclear. Typically, military members discharged for failing drug tests don't receive an honorable discharge. So he got an honorable discharge failing the drug test.
Oh, he got a raise.
No, it means that it means that him doing crack is honorable, like it is in the family.
Lifetime benefits.
Yeah, for doing it. The vice president speaks about his children frequently during public appearances. In December, Hunter Biden and one of his daughters accompanied the elder Biden on the trip to Asia, probably China, where the vice president praised his son's work around the world as a chairman of the World Food Program USA. I need to know the World Food Program is pushing what? GMOs. Listen to this. I am so incredibly proud of him, Vice President Biden said. Earlier this year, this is 2014, guys, Hunter Biden raised eyebrows when he joined the board of a private Ukrainian gas company, just as his father, the Obama administration, were working to wean Ukraine off of Russian energy. At the time, Vice President's office brushed aside questions about the arrangements by saying the younger Biden was a private citizen. Biden, a managing partner in investment firm Rosemont Seneca Partners, has 3 children. His older brother, Beau Biden, is Delaware's attorney general and an Army National Guard member who served a year-long deployment in Iraq. I'm going to stop there. So he fails a drug test and he gets an honorable discharge. And if you saw the video I sent you, it looked like he snorted cocaine behind his parents' back on the portico of the White House on the 4th of July. And they found cocaine in the White House. And I sent you photos, I believe. If not, I'll send them to you, where they took a whole bunch of things in hazmat bags out of the White House just a week ago. Something's going on. And it's interesting, all these Black lives destroyed by Biden's anti-crack cocaine laws. And yet his son smokes crack, has sex with minors. It's alleged that he has sex with minors. It's alleged. And if you've seen the pictures, they don't look like people in their middle teens. They look like folks about 12, 11.
So they found the drugs not just in the White House, they found it in the West Wing, which is basically the president's residency,
living quarters, sure.
Living quarters, the offices where the country is being ran.
Sure. You know, this isn't the first time drugs have been in the West Wing. We need to remember that John F. Kennedy had John F. Kennedy Sr. would have LSD parties with Mary Franchot. And I'm forgetting her last name, but you can look her up. He was dropping LSD with, let me pull her name up because I want to get the last name. Her husband was head of the CIA's Office on Operations. Mary Franchot, and the last name is, let me start putting her name in. Let me tell you, because I can't wait until I have a white audience that reads. They'll know what I'm talking about. But, you know, you have a black audience. You have to not only tell them, you have to spell this shit out, man.
Well, you definitely got to do that when you're talking about the Democratic Party and black people.
Mm-hmm. You've got to give all the damn information.
Cognitive dissonance, like the Democratic Party can't do no wrong. And that's interesting, Dr. Short, that most of the, from what I understand, most of the black people went to the Democratic Party during what they allege is the civil rights movement.
No. It's a little bit before.
Okay.
This is what happened. What happened to what happened is that the Great Depression hit. Black people in the Great Depression in the 1920s. The black banks went down, in the 1920s. So black folks were already in the Depression, like we're in a depression right now. Okay. And forgive me, I want to give this name to you. It's Mary, I'm saying French, I don't know why I'm doing that. Pinchot Mayor. Pinchot spelled Pinchot, Mayor. Mary Enid Pinchot Meyer, an American painter who lived in Washington, D.C., She was married to Central Intelligence Agency official Cord Mayer. She used to do LSD with John F. Kennedy Sr. in the White House and have sex with him. So drugs and sex is old in the White House. Okay, she died October 14th, 1964. Okay, so that is, wow, 59 years ago almost. And, Kennedy died in 1963. So if she would have to have done drugs, she would have done drugs with him basically 60 years ago. So not recent. And I need to remind everyone, Mary Todd Lincoln was a junkie. And it's alleged that John Wilkes Booth was her pusher. And
you think that Central Intelligence might have killed her?
Well, remember, I said her husband's in charge of operations, assassinating people, and you are dropping acid, doing blowjobs on the president, and everybody sees you coming in and out of the White House, and you, my woman. I think that would have helped. By the way, they tried to put the murder of this Mary Pinchot Mayer on a black ne'er-do-well who was supposed to have drowned her or done something to her at the Georgetown Canal here in D.C., and a black woman whose last name was Roundtree. She died either late last year. She's died within the last year. But her name is Debbie Roundtree. Remembering all these damn names and all, I mean, it's just annoying. Because I'm not great with names. And I have to remember all of these to try to put the damn pieces together. But her name is Debbie Roundtree. Let me give you Debbie Johnson Roundtree. Oh, I'm sorry. She died in 2018. I apologize. She was 104 years old. She was a pioneer black lawyer. She got the black dude off who was accused of murdering Mary Mayer. They tried to put on a black dude. It failed. And so it's before 9/11. And by the way, she knew something about the Kennedy assassination. So, you had to get rid of her. And
so basically with Hunter Biden, it's business as usual.
It's business as usual. These rich white and affluent white families, they're people. Their kids get high. They're spoiled. Income levels don't determine your morality. Affluence and access doesn't make you a better person. I'm going to tell you something. If you come from a struggling family with the mother and father, and you're in a rough area, but your parents are solid, your life is very structured. You're very disciplined. You know not to smoke. You better not. Those people who have parents that are off with maids, they do what they want. Like the Bush family. W. Bush was on drugs. Bill Clinton was on drugs. Bill Clinton's brother Roger was on drugs. This stuff isn't new. I mean, these wealthy people, who uses most of the drugs? The affluent white folk do what they want to do. Snort with.
Dr. Short. Dr. Short, you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, I had lost you for a second.
Yeah,
So it's business as usual. Business as usual at the.
the hello.
Yeah, I'm there.
The elite do what they want to do, and the elite make rules to oppress the poor. You've always had people using dope. I said that Mary Todd Lincoln was a druggie, a junkie. All the presidential widows, she never got a pension. And of all the presidential widows, she's the only one that's buried outside the United States. Why? Why did she flee America and go abroad? If your husband was a beloved president assassinated, people should have made it rain on her. What did they know? And if she was a junkie, like I told y'all, she's a junkie. And if John Wilkes Booth was a pusher, and it's people, and he sold opium or opioids, and if Mrs. Lincoln was one of his buyers, now you understand why he could get close to Lincoln and shoot him. And by the way, he was a Democrat. Now, let's talk about black people. We've done some other stuff. We just want to say that the Bidens are dirty. The Bidens have a history of being opposed to everything for black people. And I want to put an international spin on this because, you know, a lot of our people think very shallow. My comment is the only thing deep with black folks is pussy. Nothing else do we take any depth to. Sorry, I wish we did. It's so lonely. Anyway, one of the key things I want to say is that in this world that is globalized and connected, what happens overseas impacts us here, like the chain of distribution of goods. Notice how the prices of eggs and chicken and fruit and bread and everything has gone through the ceiling. Once they put booty check, the dude with the butt that Biden was staring at back in March 2020. Did you see that picture? Did you see when Booty Judge or Booty Check said that he was supporting Biden, and Biden was literally holding him from behind, looking down his behind, grinning? And I'm thinking, this is why I believe in God, and I know a lot of people are wicked and they're on their way to hell. You see a man staring at another man's behind, smiling with a big grin on his face. And it's Biden, the one who touches everybody. And, you know, you've got drag queens at the White House and so forth. I don't have to think about what he's thinking because I wouldn't be that close to another person's buttocks. You know, with cameras, I mean, at least hide. Just live your life. Don't make other people see it. The way that guy was smiling, it's almost as if he was about to ride that boy right on stage. And everybody saw that, and nobody says, that's weird. Well, ever since they put this dude who's a failure at everything in charge of transportation, at least the word trans is in his title. He should be happy about that. Nothing has worked since Buttigieg, as I said, has been in office as the Secretary of Transportation. You barely see him. All these people are failures. That dude that looks like Fred Nance from I Love Lucy with the wig on as a head of Health and Human Services. It's all been a disgrace. But I want to stay at Buttigieg for a second and just say that he's a failure. Health and Human Services is a failure. All of this is happening, but in a globalized world with people pushing all this filth and American nastiness and aggression, the world is turning away from America. Joe Biden is doing more to destroy the American empire than any president in history. And how does that impact Black people? Well, when America goes down, the roof's going to hit us on the head hardest. I want to say to you that part of the distribution and delivery in the global economy is energy and the petrodollar. And in the last 3, 4, 5 months, America has lost control of the Middle East. Syria is back in the Arab League.
This is an unfriendly reminder.
Excuse me. Excuse me for that, Dr. Short.
Syria is back in the Urban League. Saudi Arabia and Iran are in communication. And they're having a dialogue. So diplomatic relations between the two rival superpowers in the Arab world, Muslim world, are now in dialogue and discussion. Egypt is pulling towards Syria. Israel, love it or hate Israel, it's America's ally. I'm not taking sides, and I'm only saying that the government of Satan Yahoo is under attack. They're not even able to beat up and hurt the Palestinians like they used to doing. Lebanon is stepping up. So the key area where energy is extracted from, petrochemicals, that the dollar is based around trading and dollar-denominated transactions. China is using its own currency to buy oil, making deals with Iran, making deals with the Saudis. The BRICS countries are growing. All of this stuff that's moving to end the primacy of the Anglo-American empire. Well, if that is happening, then it means that things are going to get rougher for the United States economically. Who do you think's going to get screwed first? We are. Now, bringing it home, so you're seeing America lose influence in Europe because the Germans and the Poles and the French and others are running out of weapons to give to the Ukrainians to fight the Russians, and the Russian ruble is strong. The Russian economy is growing. And all the African countries are getting closer to Russia and China. And the Chinese are establishing better relations with Venezuela and Cuba. This is all happening suddenly. They're going to be great shocks to the American economy, and it's going to hit Black people the most. And
So Dr. Short, let me ask you, are we basically saying that the world is tired of America's shit?
the world is tired of America's shit, and Black people are going to pay for it. We're going to pay for folk being mad at white folks, and the folks fleeing the countries whose economies are crashing because of all the sanctions and wars and the COVID manipulation and the fallout after that. They're coming here. They hate America and they hate you because they were told they had to hate us to get up in here. So Black Americans are headed for a whole bunch of suffering brought to them by the Biden administration. And I must say this, it couldn't happen to a better group of self-deceiving, self-deluding, backstabbing Black folks that we've invited all this suffering on ourselves. And it's amazing. So expect more suffering. And in particular, for a lot of people isolated, it's like when you start talking about wars, you know who's really not feeling nothing for the most part? A lot of single women. But not so much anymore, sisters. Affirmative action is gone. That's going to lead to a ripple effect of a lot of people being laid off and let go of jobs. Jobs that some of we Black men know we could never get through because it's really just unfair. But they'll let a Black woman in as a way to sort of put a finger up the nose of a Black dude. Yeah, cool, we won't take you, but we'll give one of your gals a job. Now that's hold on. That's gone. We're gonna see a meltdown of the confident, strong Black professional women are gonna take a hit, and they're gonna be replaced by Asians and white women and other people, and it's gonna really blow people's minds, and all of this is with the Democrats. They're creating all this stuff, and you're seeing all of these women and children disappear. They're letting all these strange men in the country. That's where the women and children are disappearing. They're probably burying them in shallow graves. But if it's a government policy to replace us or to erase us or displace us, they're not going to put that on the news that these people are targeting Black women and kids. And they know that the women are independent and they're off, and, it's their body, their choice. I guess it's just your dumb decision. It's your life.
I want to ask you about something you said, because I really try to not be naive to what has happened. being a Black woman, and they love to tell us that they're the most educated amongst us nowadays. How has that benefited or hurt the Black family? And I know the answer. I just want you to give us the answer.
Well, I hope we have a Black family. It would be nice. Okay, so
we're laughing, but it's really sad.
I wish we had one. Okay, well, let me try to answer this. One, the women have a lot of debt. I have a lot too. I mean, people go to these colleges, they're masturbating them. They're using these people to take out.
Going to get taken care of. What are you talking about? They got debt.
Oh, no, that you really think Biden was going to do that. Hold on. That's like a whole thinking that a pimp's going to go 50-50 with her. Okay, I mean, he's not pimping holes to go 50-50 with anyone. Okay, Michael Jackson almost got it to 50-50 with Sony. Look at how that ended. You when people are exploiting you, they don't go 50-50. They never do. So the reason I'm saying that is that Biden is a bank person. He is a banks person. He is a person that's a slave to finance capital. And he was one of those people that was for getting rid of the ability for people to file bankruptcy with student loans. Biden's one of these people that crazy glued that shit to your head, so you couldn't get rid of it. How could he now come back later and say, well, we're going to give you a little rebate? He never had the power to do it. He knew he didn't have the power to do it. He knew that Trump and them would not put a counter offer around financial aid, or should say relief to people who borrowed for school. So as a means to reach a certain demographic of people who weren't feeling him, that like Bernie Sanders, was to say, hey, look, I can take $30,000 off, or $10,000 or $20,000 of student loan money or bills off of you. That was a hell of an inducement to a lot of people to vote for him when he's never going to do it. He didn't have the capacity to do it, and he knew that from the onset. See, the answer shouldn't be a percentage. They need to wipe the shit clean for everybody. The same way the banks got bailed out for speculating with this bundling and selling homes, these toxic assets, they should do the same thing with these toxic degrees.
So the banks got bailed out and didn't even have to pay the debt back.
The banks got bailed out many times over, got $24 trillion or more dollars. I mean, $1 trillion would take care of the student loan. You give the banks more than 20 times what all these student loan people need. Just wipe the shit free. They're not going to do that, because the debt slavery is a way to control people. There are people in jobs, people doing things they don't want to do because there's no way out. And they were told there was no way into the good jobs unless you went to school. And they speculated the price of education so high that people had to borrow money. And look, at the same point that education went through the roof, real estate went to the roof. Well, if you're in college, you are in class part of the day. You're not working full time, so you got to live somewhere. And if you want to go to a good college, if it's not across the street in the same town as you, then You want to go to an elite school or more important school so people will look at you. So that means you have to rent somewhere. And so the rent's $3, $4, $5,000, well, $4,000 a month. Some places, if you're in Massachusetts or certain places, the rents are so high. The students and other people are subsidizing the explosion and the rental cost nationally. So these people are making money off of all of this. Then they ripped off the young people. Sadly, they destroyed the young people. And a lot of folks are going to wake up to it. Biden's part of it, but no one's going to bring that to anyone's attention because the banks and the pharmaceuticals and these other people give money to the media. And so the media has deliberately not told you much about Biden. They're sitting on their hands, refusing to investigate. Instead, they'll keep telling you that Trump works with the Russians, and yet there's all of this information on Hunter Biden, that Trump has these women pissing on him in a hotel in Moscow, and yet there are actual videos of Hunter Biden's penis and M&Ms. And the response to that is to shut your computer down or kick you off of social media if you share what you see. People couldn't share that information. If you share it, you're out. You can't. So we can't even show people the facts of it. There are pictures of Hunter Biden smoking crack, running around nude, doing things, taking pictures of his little wiener. Hi. And it's not enough to say there's a problem. Former President Trump, during the debates in 2020, pointed out that Hunter Biden was a druggie. And no one has come back and said, in retrospect, Trump was telling the truth. They just double down on it. So we're in the midst of a psychological war between the white elites. And my thing is, we shouldn't take anybody's side but our own. However, I have to say that the black people don't have a hangover yet with Kamala doing stuff for Southwest Asians, for Kamala going to Africa promoting LGBTQ. You just can't point to anything that these people have done. And everything bad, we're still getting murdered by the police. This mass shooting where this tether from the Pacific murders 5 Black Americans, just mows them down, just kills people. It was a story, and then it's not a story. And he's a drag queen with artificial boobs wearing Black Lives Matter activists. The Black farmers, led by Dr. Boyd, a distant cousin of mine, the Black farmers aren't getting any help, and they had gotten behind Biden. Everyone Black's getting fucked by Biden, and yet everybody's not willing to say it was a mistake. We were wrong. We were wrong. Trump, as crazy as he comes across to some people, wasn't trying to hurt us. No, and not on the level that Biden is. Now, how do you feel about that?
Well, it's interesting because you ask most people what policies that Trump put in place or signed that hurt black people, and they can't come up with those policies. And then when you look at this present administration, it's countless things that they've done that have hurt black people directly and indirectly. And those who were calling for him, the Congressional Black Caucus and all these other groups, they're silent on the matters. And if it isn't for grassroots media speaking about it, nobody would be talking about it. Everybody's just walking around like they're just in a daze and don't care, not aware of what's going on. Even when you brought up the issue about world matters and how the value of our dollar is losing, nobody cares. Everybody's in a daze. They're too busy chasing celebrities and worrying about what the celebrities are doing and this, that, and third. And meanwhile, they can't even buy breakfast for their family.
Well, it's going to get worse. The hangover may come. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm just saying this. Ramaswamy, the little nasty Hindu swindle who wants to run as Republican nominee, that's never going to happen. Okay. If they ever come out with a woman who's governor, Nikki Haley, I mean, basically she and Kamala both are alleged to be like major freaks. In fact, what my joke was? What's Kamala Harris's favorite lunch? Okay, brown bag lunch. Yes, y'all got it. Y'all did get it. She likes brown bag lunches. And I guess they're Lunchables, brown bags. You probably got brown bags too. I do. Nikki Haley and Kamala Harris are both alleged to be highly sexed women who have talking about, screwed their way to the top. That's probably why they can't stand each other. And Nikki Haley, she can get out there and run. But if people ever find out, that she's like almost a political version of Rick James's classic soul song, Super Freak, it's not going to work. All right. Now, the brother that looks like a donkey with no ears, Tim Scott.
Tim Scott?
He does look like a donkey, or one of the Cosby kids. Look, you have a Fat Albert, right? No, it's
Yeah.
no. It's not happening. That's not happening. Okay, and it doesn't matter how much you say racism doesn't exist. It will exist if they try to put you in the White House. Folk would discover they were Klans people. So I think you got Trump and the Satan. He's that's not gonna work. When you see Donald Trump go to Joe Biden's hometown, Joe Biden can't get 250 people to turn out for him, and Trump gets 50,000 plus, barely announced. All he has to do is show up. You really think that this man who can't get in his own hometown, that he really is going to win this next election?
And
a lot of people.
Short, that was reported, but even the left leaning media couldn't even hide that. I happen to live very close to where he is from. He couldn't sell out. President Biden, unfortunately, couldn't sell out, or whatever the words they use, a college auditorium. President Trump came 2 weeks later, and he sold out an arena. This, and I think most people don't understand how bad that is for a sitting president to come, quote unquote, to his hometown to talk to college kids, and they were disinterested. Nobody showed up. More people was upset because of the traffic jam than him even coming and what he had to say. But when President Trump comes, his constituents come out, and it really, really underscores how popular, how in tune with his voters President Trump has been. Most people that voted for Biden, they literally voted because they didn't want to vote for Trump, which is the ultimate FU. Because that this guy is not going to help you directly or indirectly. But our people, man, our people are just, I don't know what to say, Dr. Short.
Well, I do. I know what to say. It's a hangover, it's a hangover. We got drug from Biden, drug, and it's not so much you want people to run from one party to the other, but people begin thinking. But I'll tell you, a lot of people learned through the sensory pain on the ass. And so it's coming. And I can recall the last election. There was almost an arrogant hubbub of a lot of pork chop feminists that they were voting for Biden. And now gas and all these other things have really beat people's behinds. This is what they got. It's not good. I mean, I'm just looking. I mean, the crime everywhere, rape everywhere. It's been insane. At home, every city, every community is being impacted by these awful policies. And the best thing you could do is put up a Ronald McDonald-looking stud who can't really deflect well. I mean, everything she's deflected in her life is.
They've literally told the rest of the Democrats who choose to want to run against this guy, well, we ain't going to have no debates. So that's out the question. And you even see Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he's kind of picking up steam. What do you think of him? What do you think of...
Well, I think that he's, if nothing else, he's angry that someone killed his dad. He's likely to do something. I prefer him to Biden. At least he's all there. He can string a sentence together, though he has a terrible voice. I mean, it's too bad he can't get some nanotechnology on those vocal cords, so it's okay to listen to him without feeling like you've got an autistic professor and you're in some experimental college class.
Yeah.
I'm not saying what he's saying. It's just the tone quality of his voice is awful.
Mm-hmm.
I scratch when I scratch our balls, it's my balls. It's like nobody wants to hear that. And he's saying good stuff, but it just sounds terrible hearing it. Can you imagine being this woman and him doing pillow talk to you? You'd be walking out on him. Because it sounds like, a retarded Freddy Krueger. I left my knife in the house. I'll be back. It's awful. So yeah, it's a hangover. I'm just thinking drugs, everything. I mean, the fentanyl stuff is back. All these homeless people losing their apartments. And and I left out the open border. Oh my God, all the snapping shit here is going to other people, taking jobs from people, firing people, kicking people out of inexpensive apartments, public housing. There was a song back in the day, you got to make a way for the young folks. Well, they're now saying you got to make a way for the illegals. And they should say, niggas, you got to make a way for the illegals. Gangway. Give way and let the other people have everything. Your days are over. And that's what the Democrats have brought us. Basically, genocide with a smile.
And some cocaine.
Well, no, we don't even get cocaine. In fact, they've got Negroes celebrating weed when you could grow that yourself. In fact, I'm convinced something's wrong with the weed. I'm convinced that weed is linked to all these mass shootings. Weed makes people aggressive and stupid.
Well, Dr. Short, I don't know, man. It's like you said. When is this hangover going to stop? When are we going to,
I think that the hangover is going to begin to end as things get really tough when it gets cold this year. That they want to shut the country back down. And that's going to they're trying to do it even with all this smoke from Canada. Stuff's bothering people's nose and eyes and ears. Smoke making me itch in my chest and gag and all this stuff. That this is some chemtrail stuff on top of that. Folks are going to get tired of it. I think they're going to blow up this fall. It's my prayer by August that you start to see people just go off and rebel against things. You're beginning to see it on a global basis. People rebelling against stuff precious to Biden. I think I may have sent you the clip that in Tbilisi, Georgia, over in the former Soviet Socialist Republic of Georgia, attacked Pride Day, burnt the rainbow. I did this People getting tired of this no money shit being put forth by Democrats. No food, no reparations, no nothing. Just be gay, get high, kill babies. That's not enough for people. That's really not enough. That's not a solution to anything.
Mm.
You know, be a sodomite, be a baby killer. You smoke marijuana, kill a baby, get your genitals cut off. Oh, there's no man, there's no woman. Wow, aren't we free? Yeah, this is so cool. This is not real. People are going to get tired of the culture war. I think they're already tired. And that thing tossing his titties up on the White House lawn, it was like waving a red carpet in front of a bull. And that makes people charged. So you're seeing people rebel against this. I don't know what stupid Biden's going to do next, but he will do it. He's going to do it. And the thing is, I actually think we're going to begin to have, as people get hungry, people going into stores, stealing and snatching. I actually see more shootings. I see people getting shot in stores, shot in shopping centers. I actually see racial violence, and it's going to be like stupid, lawless Negroes and cops. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. And it's brought to us. You're going to see no good mayors, like the no good mayor in New York and the no good mayor in Chicago. You're going to see people fire and let go large numbers of municipal employees. They're going to be, in particular, blacks being fired. It's going to be, I mean, there's an awakening coming. So it's going to be like giving a drunkard some milk, some warm milk. We're going to see people forcibly woke up. And it's going to be kind of interesting, because are they going to vote for Biden to do the same, or are they going to break? And by the way, the white masses are getting angry, and they're blaming black people for being the backbone to all these awful policies of Biden. So you're looking at a range of things that are going to happen here that's going to estrange black folks from the Democrats. The real question will be, what will our game be? Because the Republicans aren't talking to us, especially if they've got this Satan up there. And Trump is a pragmatist. If he doesn't feel like he can pull black votes, he's not going to do as much. And so we'll beat ourselves out of any large yes that could come from a Trump victory. So let me say I think the hangover is going to come with it's going to end with the boom. I believe that you're going to see more mass shootings, more communal violence amongst people, young black folks, and you may even see police violence against young black folks in an aggressive, violent way, like South Africa, like Soweto, or like some third world country where folks are going to just really open fire. And I think that this whole situation in France and Britain, which has not had people go off yet, but several countries in Europe have had these riots. That's Switzerland, Netherlands, Belgium. These are all countries with large black populations. Don't be surprised if Sweden and Denmark don't explode. You're likely to see a response in the dispersed populations that are black to get tired of their treatment. And Biden, in fact, doing what he does, as well as pushing this LGBTQ thing, is going to anger people. As you know, Ghana's debating their LGBTQ bill, as is Kenya. And you know that Anthony Blinken, who's a deviant head of the State Department, they're literally attacking anyone that doesn't just suck up to LGBTQ. And I think that this is really angering people around the world. So I see black folks getting mad.
We lost Dr. Short for a second, you guys. He'll be back. He'll be back. Dr. Short, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
What is going on today, man? Well, I was just saying to you that I envision seeing some repressive state violence and policies that are harmful, that are going to force some people to wake up. And it'll be interesting to see the fallout. So let's stop here and let's regroup, because we have to do another one of these.
Yes. Thanks everybody for joining us. Remember, like, share, subscribe. You guys in the chat, that will be in the chat. Appreciate your support. And if you have any topics that you would want Dr. Short to address, just say that in the comments, and I'll relay the comments back to Dr. Short. The best way to support someone's channel is to literally support, like, share, and subscribe. And for Dr. Short's Cash App is $ Dr. Randy Short. Make sure you guys support what he's doing. Make sure you support, because what he's gonna do literally with your donations is buy books. You know what he's about. You know he's someone who's always available for those that he knows is going to take a good interest in what he's saying and what he's bringing to us. So remember to support by doing so. And until next time, we will see you guys later.